You guys had a top three finish in all but two legs.
Really? I did not know that.
I did.
You did?
You guys
She's keeping
were
track.
in Dubai. It
Okay.
was, yeah.
Not bad.
So, not
Not
too
bad for
shabby.
a
Not
couple of
too
kids from
shabby.
Pomona. Yeah.
Yeah, are you able to like appreciate it now?
Oh yeah, we're definitely to the point where we could just look back and say, wow, we did
We
that.
did pretty
We
good,
did pretty darn good.
considering all the challenges that we had to deal
Yes.
with the race and, with,
Yeah.
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 Well, let's talk about it. You guys have been very open about the journey post race and your diagnosis, Jonathan, with autism. Was that purely from your experience of the race that led you down that path?
100%. And that's sort of the miraculous thing about this. I went 40 years of my life not knowing why I was always so
Mhm.
different and why I felt
Right.
like an alien my whole life.
We always
Uh,
suspected there was something because,
yes.
again, Jonathan's very unique and everyone around him knows him. And even your family suspected just something, but I mean, you grew up in the 80s. I don't think autism was like a
The
thing people
science
talked
wasn't
about.
where it's at today, and the awareness wasn't certainly wasn't where it's at
Yeah.
today. And so just I have to just say this is a I always knew that God put us on this race for a reason. Uh, I thought it was to win $1 million like everybody, right? I know now exactly why I was put on this race at this time in my life. Had I not done this, I would have gone the next 40 years of my life not knowing. And so
Yeah.
I will always be glad for that I know because there are people they go their whole lives not knowing, why they have these issues and why they feel different. And that's so sad to me. That almost brings a tear to my eye to know that I could have gone my whole life not knowing this. And she could have gone her whole life. Not because we have issues, not certainly nothing like what you've seen on the race,
No.
but we have our and we for the
Yeah.
longest time, why are we dysfunctional? Why are we so that we never knew? Are we just because we love each other? The love is there
And the
and the commitment
commitment.
is there.
Well, I'll never forget at the mat, Phil asked a question along the lines like, okay, so what now between you guys? Obviously he had heard about, all
Mhm.
the things that were happening. And
He
and
he kind of
Jonathan,
he kind of assumed we are going to separate. I think he said, "What's going to happen with you two?"
but Jonathan used this analogy about how we are two different puzzle pieces don't quite fit together. And ironically, that is exactly what's happening here. We
Mm.
are wired completely differently, and now we have proper tools. And, it's helped me learn that I'm not a problem. You're not angry at me, and this is a you issue, and I
100%.
can be supportive, but now you need to learn the managing
Mhm.
coping skills to manage this. And thankfully, our lives are not like the Amazing Race. We have a very
Yeah.
quiet
Yeah,
life.
you guys are definitely in a heightened situation. Obviously, Jonathan, you are being triggered constantly without those tools to manage. Help us understand, though, the difference when we kind of see you lashing out at Anna. Would walk me through that behavior.
Okay,
Mhm.
so the best way I could describe it. So I'm at this time I'm like a maelstrom of emotions, right? And so
Mm.
I have these emotions that are overwhelming my brain. And so I don't know what's causing it because I can't process it like you can, or I'm sorry, not to presume that you're
Just so neurotypical.
yeah, I can't process it like a normal person can. So I am completely overwhelmed. And so I would often just direct that
Yeah.
blame to the only person around me,
And
which is
then
her.
zero
And so
communication.
so
So
that's
I'm
why
just like,
people
what
it
is
drove people
happening?
so nuts. Like, why are you always blaming her? You're blaming her because I don't know what else to blame. You're the only person there. And so
Mhm.
little did I know that, it's because of my inability to process and regulate these emotions and identify these emotions even
Mhm.
sometimes that's what makes it so hard to do that
Yeah.
in those moments.
And it was these very childlike tantrums that, essentially when we got back home, I was like, you need to address this because I get it. That was very stressful, but that can never happen again. This is crazy. And I wish the audience got to also see the process that took place
After.
after this.
Yeah. You never
It's
saw me apologize
you
and
never
take
saw.
accountability. So I think that was driving a lot of people nuts. Like,
I mean,
Yeah.
I understandably so.
yeah.
So again,
Okay, so for the record, you have apologized and taken accountability. We now know.
Yeah, no, no, no,
if
yeah.
anything, if anything, Jonathan takes accountability for everything he does, and he holds me to the same standard. And I'm not as quickly to say I'm sorry because I'm a little prideful. But Yeah, no, he always took accountability. Whenever his stimuli will come
Yeah,
down, I
it just
explained it like a computer, like it's overheating, and what happens when it just like nothing is working, it
nothing's
shuts
getting.
down and it resets. And he would do this. He would get to the hotel room and he would literally like pass out for like an hour, and then he would wake up and I have my husband's back.
Yeah,
I had another husband on the race. When people asked me what that experience was like, I was like,
it's like you're raising with a different person.
100%,
Yeah, yeah.
100%.
Well,
It was
thank you
wild.
for being open and clearing that stuff up. Let's talk about some race stuff, though. Yes. You guys excited to get the driver's seat, but
Oh,
then
yeah.
turned into a
Right.
little bit of drama afterwards. Talk
I
me
mean, it
through
was
that.
inevitable. It
A
was
lot of
100%
drama
inevitable.
actually, right?
Yeah.
So let me break it down.
Well, I mean, listen, I know a lot of, especially a lot of teams had a lot of questions, and I could just be like, watch the episode again. I explained everything perfectly, like the process of what happened and what we would have done differently.
Yeah.
But listen, the stress of, well, first of all, everybody wants to get to the driver's seat, and there's so much tension between the teams.
Mm.
Everybody's kind of like throwing hints of what they would do, kind of for strategy, like, oh, I would help you. So you're thinking, wait, so if I get it, am I supposed to help you? And there was a lot of chit chat about certain teams telling other teams, okay, if you get there first, you need to give Jonathan and Anna the most work. And we didn't know about any of this. We always ran our own race. We never
Yeah.
worked with other teams really.
And we came up with a strategy. I want to say it's like a multi-tiered strategy. We wanted to give the least amount of work to the girls, which we'll get back to. We wanted to help our friends, which at that time were Han and Holden,
Carson, Jack, Mark, and
Mark,
Brett.
Brett, and then whatever to the rest, right? They'll get the most.
Especially if they're right behind us, you know.
Yeah. And so what happened? We got to the
When
board.
you get to the board, you have 2 minutes to decide.
Only 2 minutes.
And whatever plan we had imagined, it just goes out the window because again, you don't know the weight. You don't know if you have to like climb 300 steps compared to 5 steps. You have to. We didn't know if it was pounds. We didn't know if what kind of quantity.
You're not sure what the
We didn't know what it
implementation of
was.
the driver's seat looks like yet.
Right. And
So
not only that, we get there and we see the diabolical decision to put 5 25s and 3 20s and then 2 15s. It was like
so right away you see, oh my gosh, the majority of the teams here are going to hate us after this, right? Well,
100%.
unless we use our express pass, right, to give ourselves one of those 25s. And yeah, so I see your face. Right, there was a lot of controversy because why
Yeah.
did we give ourselves 15 and then use the express pass after giving ourselves the lightest weight?
Yeah. So we were really running out of time. I literally spent like a minute just trying to analyze, oh my gosh, that is 5 25s. What the heck? That throws all my plans out the window. I thought it was gonna be like an equal amount or 3 3, two, whatever. So yeah, we tried to do our best to do it as quickly as possible. And one of the producers is like, you're running out of time. And we still haven't assigned ourselves any weight.
Yeah.
And we just make that quick switch and go. Because again, if those 2 minutes run out, the next team behind you gets that
And
control.
what about for the people that think,
Oh.
you should have known that you were going to use your express pass? Like we didn't really come to that decision
Right.
weirdly until
Yeah.
it's such a tunnel vision thing.
It is.
You
It
can only
is.
think about the
Yeah.
thing right in front of you when you're on the race. And so I wish in retrospect we could have,
It's so much easier making these decisions and planning it out from the comfort of your home.
yeah, that's
100%.
yeah.
But listen, we use Express Pass. We get to the detour, which we love the detour, and we win the leg. And we had a 42-minute lead the next leg. So to me, it wasn't wasted, but it wasn't the best use for social strategy.
And
That's
yeah,
it.
going back, I would definitely. I think we still would have used Express Pass, but we would have given, obviously ourselves the heaviest,
Yeah.
given Bernie and Kerrigan the 15,
Yeah.
and I think there would have been a little less kind of,
Yeah. And
tension.
I wish I would have been able to go back and be like, okay, can I use an Express Pass now?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, obviously, once you said Express Pass, you couldn't go back and like readjust the board. So you guys were kind of stuck
No,
there.
the minute you walked off the mat for the board, whether you even watched the roadblock, like you were done. You
Yeah,
were done.
yeah. Well, this last leg looked a little tense. You guys aren't big water people, and you're all of a sudden surrounded by water.
No water people.
Yeah.
Oh, not at all. Anna, I have to say, you showed tremendous strength the whole season, but with the sore challenge, absolutely. So just like heartbreaking to watch you, but you're doing it, right? Like you're pushing and pushing, but you're also crying in the ocean. Can you talk me through that experience?
Yeah, so we get to the roadblock and we read who wants to go above and beyond. So we think it has something related to do with height. I remember the first thing that came to my mind was parasailing, and talking with Carson, Jack, and Hannah Holden after, like they were like, I thought it was a helicopter ride. It
Mm.
just these ideas came to my head. I didn't even know what flyboarding looked like. I didn't know that was a thing. Again, we're not water people. We don't pay to go do water sports or get on boats or whatever. So I read, I'm like, what the heck is that?
Yeah, yeah. What is that? And
And
oh
it
gosh.
was
Well, it
so
was your worst nightmare. That's what
intense
it was.
because
Yeah.
one, I'm trying to acclimate myself to the water, which is
Oh,
obviously awful. And it felt like constant torture. And then you have this power, what do you call it? A power jet.
power jet, of course.
Yeah, right under you. And unless you're at the right angle, doing exactly, you're getting slammed in the water. And it hurt every time. I was swallowing so much water. It was just highly uncomfortable. And I was there, was it an hour after Han left or after Jack left?
Yeah.
I was there for a long
So it looked a lot
time.
closer on the show.
Just imagine how many times I kept
She
getting
was, yeah.
dunked. I felt like I got hit by a car the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was not fun. So, the instructor's being very nice and he's trying to tell me to have fun, but I'm like, this is not fun.
You're
I,
like,
I'm, I
no.
I actually hate this.
Yeah.
Me, can I just, I'm sorry. I had no idea just how harsh these impacts were to her until I saw the show because we were stationed at the pier and they were doing it, I want to say like 300 feet into the ocean. So I didn't even understand how bad it was until I saw the show. I said, oh my God. And we were both watching it for the first time. And we both started crying because I just saw how hard that was on her body. And, oh God.
So yeah, it was the hardest thing I've ever done, but I was at least proud that I completed it, regardless of how long it took me. I was never gonna take a penalty. I'm like, I am gonna get this at some point. And it's funny because there were some houses nearby, and with like the around the dock, and there were these two dogs that sat there the entire time watching me, and I'm literally making eye contact the whole time while I'm out there. It's like
Those
it's
spirit
like
animals, yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like they were there the whole time. They got me through it.
Cheering you on. All right, whatever it takes. Jonathan, I have to say, I really loved watching you stringing that instrument. Like that was one of those times we got to see sort of the glimmer in your eye. What
Yeah.
was the highlight for you guys? Did you have a favorite leg, a favorite challenge?
So funny you say that because we got so many text messages from the racers in the season. They're like, "We're so glad people get to see the real Jonathan."
I think
Because this was new to
overall, yeah, because
everyone.
I think leg nine was truly the only leg where, I mean, from beginning to end, I was just like, I was good. I didn't have a single, I think bad moment all day
Right.
in Naples. And
Yeah.
yeah.
It was just it ran the way we imagine a leg would run. It was just everything you imagine a leg
And then it's
should
probably
be
because there was no
like.
twist, right?
No
Right? 'Cause
twist.
I'm averse to unpredictability, and twist is like, that's like a nightmare to me. Like,
There was no
so
crazy judging
it
challenges
was
where it's just
just
like, I don't really know what
in
you're
and
doing
out,
here.
and it was just like, wow, this is
Yeah.
the amazing race that I envisioned for
Mm,
sure. So I think probably like nine, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I also love like too because Japan.
Mm.
For people that never traveled out of the country before, I mean, just being in these places was pretty magical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I actually liked riding the camel. I know it's kind of funny, but the camels were so sweet.
Fun fact,
They were so
Jonathan talked to the camel the entire time we were riding it. And we get off the camel and we have to run to the clue box. And
yeah.
I'm like, Jonathan, what are you doing? He's literally there making eye contact, talking to the camel. And I'm like, what are you doing? Let's
This
go.
this is after leg five, which honestly, leg five, looking back, that was a pivotal leg for us. I was never the same after leg five. For whatever reason, it took a huge
Took
chunk
a
out of
piece
me.
of your soul.
And I never was able to get back to where I was before leg five for the remainder of the race. But the camel, right? It was just something about the animals giving me so much like peace and
And we talked about
happiness in that moment.
like you didn't have any major meltdowns in like six, and I always talked about you had that kind of therapeutic moment like
Yeah,
with the camel,
for sure.
and then you had to do the pastry at the
Oh
Atlantis
yeah.
Hotel because it was very therapeutical. He's working the small details in a cold place, so
Mhm.
it's just that balance of events that I think can determine whether your stimuli is gonna get out of control or if you're gonna be okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good point. I didn't think about that.
Well, I wish you guys all of the best in your future and your journey and with your daughters. I truly appreciate your time today.
Thank you,
Thank
Sarah.
you
Nice
so
to meet you.
much.